Yo, yo, yo. Hey, yo, what's good to all my heroes and villains out there? It's your boy LC. Guys, welcome to another episode of Heroes and Villains Collectibles. Let's go ahead. They did drop. The reviews are out. Okay? The reviews are out. Yo, check it out. For those of you guys that have been following me, know that I've been gaming on that Resident Evil 8, aka Resident Evil Village hardbody. I'm literally I'm right there at the edge of just almost finishing the game. So I'm gonna wind up playing the game again tonight. Hopefully I beat it. If not, I'm beating it tomorrow because tomorrow's Thursday. Resident Evil 9 Requiem comes out on Friday. So I gotta beat this game to jump on Friday on the new Resident Evil game. But I'm like literally right there. I'm on the edge. So I know that by today, latest, I don't know how much longer I got, but I'm right at the edge. I'm at the factory, like probably halfway through the factory, to be honest with you. So we're gonna go ahead and check out the reviews to the Resident Evil 9. I'm fucking excited, yo, for this one. Friday can't come fast enough, but I gotta beat this game. But yo, let's go ahead and check out the reviews, baby. I'm excited for this one. Okay, let me go ahead and make this one full screen. Guys, let me know for all my Resident Evil fans. Once again, I gotta jump back on it tonight, play a little bit more, but I'm like right there at the edge of finishing this game. This Resident Evil 8 had been one of the scariest games that I played of all the Resident Evil franchises. Also, the word is that this Resident Evil 9 is supposed to be the scariest game out of all of them. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, you got my attention. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Got the full screen right here. Comment below, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all this. Here we go, baby. So this is the Resident Evil Requiem reviews. Game drops in about, today's Wednesday, Thursday. We got 2 days till the game drops. Let's check out the reviews.
Encounters I've experienced in the series to date. With my headphones on and the lights off, the 9th mainline adventure in Capcom's long-running survival horror saga forced me to endure moments so palpably tense and prolonged, I discovered muscles to clench that I didn't previously know I had. Hours later, I was no longer holding my breath, but holding my fist in the air instead, as I gleefully mowed down masses of undead meat sacks like it was D-Day in World War Z.
Yo, Leon is one of my favorite characters, yo. That's what I'm talking about.
In an effort to please both survival horror stalwarts and action horror advocates, Resident Evil Requiem runs the gore-soaked gamut from anxiety-inducing chills to trigger-happy thrills. The result is yet another supremely hair-raising horror story, despite the fact its most potent scares have all been delivered by the time it arrives at its more gloriously gung-ho second half. Not unlike 2023's Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil Requiem initially focuses on a young FBI agent. In this case, series newcomer Grace Ashcroft, a fresh-faced analyst who's sent to investigate a series of mysterious deaths among the survivors of Raccoon City, several decades after the 1998 outbreak.
We found another body. One that exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating.
Grace's flashlight-lit forensic search through the grimy insides of a shuttered hotel is ultimately short-lived, however, since she's soon ensnared by Victor Gideon, Requiem's main antagonist, whose menacing air, disgustingly disfigured face, and greasy goggles make him seem like some sort of steampunk Emperor Palpatine.
We have so much to do.
Victor traps Grace in the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, a Spencer Mansion-style labyrinth of locked doors crawling with all manner of flesh-eating freaks. But thankfully help is on the way in the form of uber-stylish series veteran Leon S. Kennedy. Survival horror's preeminent himbo has clearly seen better days. The strange bruising on his skin suggests he's battling some sort of affliction potentially related to T-virus exposure, while the shiny new Porsche he's driving implies he's also not immune to a midlife crisis. But it's Grace who is the standout here. Resident Evil characters have historically exhibited an overly campy quality that's injected a large dose of goofiness amidst the gore. But for my money, this inexperienced FBI agent is by far the most relatably human heroine the series has ever had. Her evolution from being perpetually on the brink of a panic attack to becoming self-assured enough to fight back made for a journey that I found as captivating as it was consistently creepy.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
I feel liberated.
Requiem allows us to alternate control between Grace and Leon at specific story junctions over the course of its roughly 10-hour campaign. But it's the former whose predominantly stealth-based sections are undoubtedly the most fear-inducing. Underpowered and under constant threat from twisted stalker ghouls that are liable to descend from the rafters at any moment, Grace's efforts to escape from the terrors of Victor's hospital is a wonderfully stressful slab of unrelenting survival horror. There's precious little ammo to find, a miserly number of inventory slots to manage, and Grace moves at such a slow speed that it makes timing your careful crouch walk to avoid a prowling pack of zombies an exercise in pinpoint path making. All the while you have to puzzle through a stimulating series of body part based riddles and elaborately locked doors, never really knowing when you're going to turn a corner and come face to flabby face with a grotesquely girthy golem that's urgently squeezing its way down the hallway towards you. Nope. No thank you. I spent so much time trying to steer clear of the numerous considerable threats that on the occasions Grace was forced into a confrontations, the results really rattled me. When played in the default claustrophobic first-person perspective, her guns feel genuinely startling to fire and the impact of every precious pistol shot is immense.
Yo, that's right. In this game, you can play two modes: the regular third person or second person. Like they do it, like they're showing now, like on some Call of Duty-ish. You know what I mean? Like, damn, that's one way to check it. That's like if you're playing it on 3D. You know, like have you ever played? I had the Resident Evil on the I played it 3D on that PlayStation VR. So, and actually on the Oculus, the Resident Evil 4, I played it. So that's kind of like the same way, you know. But in Oculus is different. You know, you actually got your hands out and you're shooting. But we can play it second person or third person mode. That's bugged out.
Bullets tear the festering flesh off zombie faces, leaving eyeballs to dangle from their stems. Yeah. And blood spatter paints the walls and persists even when you backtrack through the area later on. The gallons of gore that covers the floor isn't just there for spectacle, mind you, since Grace is equipped with a handy blood collector that allows her to syringe up the infected plasma pooling around zombie corpses, and combine it with other pieces of scrap to craft invaluable items like medkits and single-use hemolytic injectors. The latter can be jammed into the spine of an undead monster caught unaware, causing their entire body to swell up and explode in the most gloriously blood-soaked manner of stealth kill possible. But you can also use it to effectively dispose of a body you've downed previously. I found that to be a smart move in areas I knew I'd be revisiting, since Requiem zombies also have a terrifying tendency to reanimate and mutate when you least expect them to. Grace's quest only grows more intense as it takes her through the suffocating shadows of the hospital's basement and beyond, but moving through Requiem's danger-filled surroundings at a snail's pace didn't just keep my nerves on edge, it allowed me to observe and appreciate the efforts that Capcom has put into enhancing the eerie behaviour of its undead army. These are no longer the groaning, foot-dragging mouth breathers encountered during the original Raccoon City outbreak. Instead, they retain traces of humanity that somehow makes them seem far more unsettling than the more animalistic werewolves in Resident Evil Village. Like the ones that idly flick light switches on and off like bored toddlers, or the others that wander around muttering and laughing to themselves before suddenly collapsing to their knees to hungrily feast on the corpse of one of their former friends.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
I feel liberated.
Damn. That was, yo, check it out. Let me know in the comments below. Are you playing that first person mode? Or are you playing this, or what is it? Second person mode, third person, or first and second? Yeah, I might be playing it like that, like second, what is it, first person mode, like on some Resident Evil. That's how I'll be playing it. I mean, on some Call of Duty.
Need to leave immediately. What's going on? I don't know what's happening. Some kind of mass hysteria.
While Grace's plight is a desperate and deliberate crawl that had me second-guessing every shadow, the ominous sounds of silence are shattered by the roar of ferocious ultraviolence when you switch control to Leon for what are initially brief tension-breaking bursts, as everyone's favourite former RCPD recruit attempts a not-so-subtle rescue mission. These levels default to a third-person view to really show off the slaughter, and within minutes of his arrival I'd slipped comfortably back into Resident Evil 4 mode, nailing headshots and ending the undead with effortless execution moves. To my surprise, however, Requiem quickly pushes the insanity meter beyond Resident Evil 4 into dead-rising levels of delirium by allowing Leon to actually wield a chainsaw to carve through the zombie crowds. Leon's sections are up-tempo and gruesome to a degree that left me giddy, and almost every major zombie Leon dispatches is met with a delightfully deadpan dad joke.
I think I want a second opinion.
Where Grace must use the scarce amounts of scrap in her surroundings to make her own rapidly destructible knives, Leon is toting a powerful hatchet that can be easily maintained with an everlasting flint. While Grace has to carefully count each round in her small handful of handguns, Leon enjoys an extensive bevy of teeth-rattling boomsticks from beefy shotguns to head-splitting snipers.
Yo, I think that when I play as the female, I'll play like first person mode. When I play as Leon, I'll play as second person mode because I really like Leon. But that first person mode, that's gonna be like on some scary shit right there.
For rifles. Plus, if Leon gets bored of his own weapons, he can use someone else's. After killing a zombie who drops a fire axe or lead pipe, he has the option to smoothly scoop it up and launch it at another enemy nearby, which is every bit as slick and satisfying as the similar sword-flinging feature of last year's Ghost of Yotei. Simply put, there's no off position on Leon's ass-kicking switch. And in addition to his surging slaughter of zombie hordes, it's also within Leon's levels that the bulk of Requiem's appropriately epic boss encounters take place. There are plenty of colossal clashes to be found here, from brand new behemoths to brilliantly reimagined threats from previous Resident Evil stories. And there isn't a single Del Largo-sized dud among them. I particularly loved how this hulking nasty subverted my expectations of how a Resident Evil boss fight should play out. Sure, being tasked with blasting the glowing weak points that cover a marauding monster's torso is nothing new. That is, until you realise that while piercing each swollen blister does inflict damage to the beast, it also spews streams of infection onto the zombie underlings around him, instantly mutating them into brawnier forms of backup for you to contend with. Leon may be armed to the teeth, but that doesn't mean Requiem doesn't still find creative ways to ramp up the challenge. Playing as Leon is such a consistently violent delight that it's a little disappointing that the Mercenaries mode isn't a feature of Requiem after its welcome inclusion in 2021's Resident Evil Village. Come on, Capcom, you're going to give me a version of Leon who can violently split skulls with a hatchet and do a lumbering Leatherface impersonation with a swinging chainsaw, and you're not going to allow me to unleash him in a score-chasing time attack mode? Here's hoping it will be patched in as a post-launch addition like the free update that Capcom eventually provided for the Resident Evil 4 remake.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
Damn. That's gonna be dope how you can switch back and forth. That's really dope. I want to see, because in Resident Evil Village, you're playing in like first person mode as Ethan. Like you don't get to see that Ethan character that you're playing with. So that's kind of first person mode. But when I'm playing on with Leon, I want to be able to see Leon.
As much as I love Leon though, I do wonder if perhaps his sections become a bit too dominant once Requiem settles into a more action-oriented groove in its second half, as the story moves beyond the grounds of Rhodes Hill and deep into what remains of Raccoon City. Let me be clear, Resident Evil 4 is my personal favourite installment in the series, so it certainly gave me a great deal of pleasure to once again wield a military-grade arsenal and pull off skull-shattering finishing moves as the series' hunkiest mutant murderer. But after playing almost exclusively as Leon through a roughly 5-hour stretch towards Requiem's conclusion, I did find myself yearning for a few more tastes of Grace's superbly nerve-shredding stealth sections as a more regular change-up from Leon's comparatively scare-free carnage. That desire was eventually gratified to some extent by a terrifyingly taut late-game tiptoe through a facility crawling with some truly menacing monsters returning from the series' past. But given that the story ended soon afterwards, my overriding impression of Requiem that it was very much a game of two halves. The former predominantly a slow and steady scare-a-thon, and the latter largely a run-and-gun splatterfest. I very much enjoyed both flavours in their own right. I just wish for the sake of its pacing that they'd been blended together a touch more over the full course of the journey. Instead, Requiem is a bit like ordering a whiskey and coke, and having it served in two separate glasses instead of being mixed into one. To be fair, Grace's absence from a significant stretch of Requiem is justified within the context of its story, and overall it's a tale that gripped me harder than a zombie nurse gnawing on my nose. There are a number of blindsiding twists that cast new light on the origins of the Umbrella Corporation and the ambitions of its founder, along with an excellent mix of zombie-riddled locations both fresh and familiar to puzzle and pummel your way through, and plenty of vital notes to collect along the way. Some of these memos are crucial to understanding the intriguing mystery behind Grace's abduction and the truth about her past, while others are just genuinely funny gags to help ease the tension. After encountering a specific zombie type in one medical wing that was obnoxiously singing at the top of her lungs, I got a good laugh out of uncovering a doctor's report that had diagnosed her with main character syndrome. There's also one particularly iconic location that Leon explores that I'm reluctant to spoil here, but it's jam-packed with fun Easter eggs that made it a real thrill to revisit, as someone who's been enjoying Resident Evil adventures ever since the T-Virus made its first outbreak on a black-bottom CD for the original PlayStation.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris is... Who's there?
Like the result of an experiment conducted in an underground Umbrella Corporation lab, Resident Evil Requiem successfully splices two separate strains of survival horror together into the one highly infectious new mutation. It signals the return of a series legend and the arrival of a likable new lead, amps up the gore to a new stomach-turning standard, and unleashes a scarier breed of zombie alongside some truly beastly boss fights. The lack of any meaningful side content like the Mercenaries mode is a touch disappointing, and I do wonder if a slightly more consistent balance could have been struck with the ebb and flow from jaw-clenching moments of tension to all-out assault, rather than front-loading the story with frights before giving way to a more bullet-riddled back half. Even so, from my first trembling steps into its shadows all the way to the tremendous Titan-sized takedown at its climax, Resident Evil Requiem kept me completely absorbed and consistently entertained, whether it was all hair-raising or all guns blazing. For more IGN reviews, check out our verdicts on God of War.
Alright, gave it a 9 out of 10. That's what I'm talking about. Yo, that looks insane, yo. That looks insane. Yo, I can't wait. I can't wait to play that game. You guys, once again, I'm literally, like, I'm halfway through the factory, which is, I'm going to say, the last level of the Resident Evil 8, the village. So, I'll be playing that game a little bit on tonight. And if I don't beat it tonight, by tomorrow, I have to beat it. Because Friday is when the new game comes out. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And I'm literally right there, like, on the edge. I'm literally at the edge of beating it. So, yeah, I've already killed all the lords. I'm up to the last lord. So, yeah. And I'm already about halfway through the factory. I guess the factory is like the last level on the Resident Evil 8, the village. So, guys, comment below. Let me know your thoughts. This game looks sick, yo. Once again, I like that it can switch off. I don't know if it does it automatically. Like the first person mode, second person mode, like Resident Evil 8, it's first person mode because you're playing as Ethan or Nathan. But you can't see the character as you're walking and you're fighting with. You can't see the character. It's like playing Call of Duty. But on the other Resident Evil games that I played, you know, you got the character that you can see about second person mode, third person mode, whatever it is. So I wonder if it's gonna change automatically, or in the settings you can change it. You know, if you can change it in the settings, as if I'm playing with the female, I'll do a first person mode. You know what I mean? Like on some Resident Evil 8 or like Call of Duty. If I'm playing as Leon, I'm just gonna play as third person mode or second, whatever it is. I want to be able to see the character of Leon. But yo, there we have it, guys. Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm excited for this one. It's only 2 days away. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you guys are going to pick this game up. And if you're going to be hitting it up too. You know what I'm saying? So it's supposed to be one of the scariest games than all the other Resident Evil. And Resident Evil 8 done scared the shit out of me. You know what I mean? I'm literally going to do a separate video on just all of the jump scares that that game had given me. So comment below. Let me know your thoughts, guys. So with all that said, check it out. This was dope. This was awesome. Hey, make sure to follow us on Heroes and Villains Collectibles Instagram if you guys want to check out the collection of Legos, the Marvel statues, Marvel Hot Toys, or the Ninja Turtle collection, all that good stuff, guys. Heroes and Villains Collectibles Instagram. Alright, guys, so once again, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, ring that bell. It'll let you know when I have all videos coming your way. Smash that like. It does help out the channel. So, with all that being said, this was dope. This was awesome. This has been another episode of Heroes and Villains Collectibles. I'm your boy, LC. Until next time, guys. Peace.